Will lies, secrets, and distrust tear apart the L. Kent family? Well, let's hop into the pages of Superman issue number 10 and find out for ourselves, shall we? Alrighty then, so picking up from where the comic left off previously, Superboy John Kent was telling his parents the story of how he escaped the evil Earth 3 and made it back to normal Earth. He had given Ultraman, the evil version of his father, the slip, but his final obstacle was actually that of Superwoman, an evil, superpowered version of his mother. Well, geez, how is John gonna get out of this one? His powers have been depleted. Is he gonna have to outthink her? Is he gonna have to try and, maybe appeal to the little bits of Lois Lane that are still in this person? Yeah, no, none of that interesting stuff happens. You see, Jor-El, formerly Mr.Oz, shows up looking 10 years older himself after having gone through the strange wormhole with a bunch of guns and robots. He ends up saving Superboy from certain death, and while doing so also robs us of an interesting conclusion to this whole Earth 3 side story. John is certainly happy to be out of there though, and because his grandfather is a scientist, he goes out of his way to give a techno-babble explanation as to how any of this is possible. You see, that wormhole they went through wasn't any normal wormhole. It was a special wormhole born of the destruction of the source wall. I'll take a bad answer over no answer at all, and at least you're trying to tie this to recent events in continuity, but I still raise an eyebrow over your reasoning. That being said, it doesn't hold a candle to what happens next. You'll remember that Jor-El has been acting all weird and possessive, telling his grandson he could go back to Earth whenever he wanted, but also stopping him every time he tried. It gets even stranger when Jor-El says that he spent years looking for John and that he's the key to all of this and he's very important, which begs a ton of questions about the timeline of Jor-El, considering that Dr. Manhattan had saved him from the moment of his death on Krypton before bringing him to Earth an undeterminate amount of time later, wherein he then stayed as Oz's prisoner also for an undeterminate amount of time. And why is he obsessed with John and not his own son? Your guess is really as good as mine here, and at the end this conversation doesn't matter at all because you see the two of their ship come under attack by Rogol Zar. Yes, that's right everyone, Rogol Zar, the great new villain that Bendis is certain you're gonna love and that who we're not done with yet. After Rogol Zar destroyed the ship, Superboy drifted for a little bit before eventually falling back down to Earth and kicking this story off where we found it. Clark and Lois both basically give him a pat on the head and say, "Good story, son, I guess we're back together as a family even though our relationship had kinda hit the rocks since you left and we weren't even living together." But that's all done now, and it was also Lois's idea. Furthermore, maybe father and son should go back up into space and take a look at the wreck of Jor-El's craft, see if they can't save him or salvage something. Lois will remain on Earth and deal with the Leviathan threat, and if you don't know what the Leviathan threat is, that means you haven't been reading Action Comics, which is a shame because I think it's the superior Bendis Superman book. Now, as the comic winds down, Superman and Superboy do manage to retrace John's tracks back to the ship, only as they get there, a giant alien battle is taking place between two unknown species. And there seems to be no signs of Rogol Zar or Jor-El as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Superman issue number 10, everybody. And honestly, I'm a little conflicted about it. On one hand, I think Bendis spends both way too much time and not enough time explaining the mechanics of how he's changed the Superman books. But at the same time, not exactly making it very interesting to read. It all comes off kind of dry. But on the other hand, we're actually tying this book in finally to a lot of the other events that are taking place in the DC universe, so for once this book doesn't feel like some strange island. We're also promised a more traditional Superman family unit moving forward, which is exactly what I wanted, even if I feel Bendis kind of flips on a dime about that sort of thing. I'm breaking up Clark and Lois, now I'm bringing them back together. What'll I do next week? I don't know. We also seem to be heading into a big crossover starting soon, which will involve the Supergirl book, and which will maybe finally explain what exactly Rogol Zar's deal is, for whatever that's worth. Ultimately, I'd give this issue a 6 out of 10. It had some saving graces, but it certainly wasn't my favorite.
Hey there, everyone. Cape Joel again. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not take a look at some of these other videos I have available from the channel. Then you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Cape Joel, so you're always up to speed on what I'm doing next. And hey, if you're feeling in a charitable mood, why not check out my Patreon page? Patrons get exclusive access to videos and content before anyone else, and you can do so for as little as $1 a month. So, until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I will be continuing to make more comic book videos that smack of greatness. Bye-bye.